Every morning, before you check your phone, someone in Brussels has already decided what your coffee will cost. Not the cafe owner, not the market, them. And you never voted for it. There's a currency that doesn't belong to any single country, yet it governs the daily lives of 350 million people across 20 nations. It's not the dollar, it's not crypto, it's the euro. And its power isn't just economic, it's architectural. A financial experiment so ambitious, so strange, that if you actually sit down and think about how it works, you start to realize something unsettling. It shouldn't work at all, but it does, sort of. This is the story of how one currency broke every rule of monetary theory, survived a near-death experience, and now quietly controls the fate of nations that can't print it, can't devalue it, and can't escape it. Let's start with what makes the euro different. Most people think a currency is just money. It's not. A currency is a promise, a tool, and in the hands of a government, it's a weapon. When the United States faces a recession, the Federal Reserve can cut interest rates, print more dollars, flood the economy with liquidity. It's controversial, sure, but it's an option. The government controls the money supply. That's the deal. Same goes for the UK, Japan, Canada. Any country with its own currency has a central bank that answers to it. They can adjust, pivot, respond. But the euro doesn't work that way. The euro is controlled by the European Central Bank, the ECB, and the ECB doesn't answer to Germany or France or Italy. It answers to all of them and to none of them. 20 countries share one currency, but they don't share one government. They don't share one tax system. They don't share one budget. Each nation still controls its own spending, its own debt, its own economy, but they all use the same money. Imagine 20 roommates sharing one credit card, but each person has a different income, different spending habits, and no one agrees on who's in charge. That's the eurozone. And for a while, it seemed like magic. The euro launched on January 1st, 1999, not in your wallet yet, just digitally, a concept. By 2002, the coins and bills arrived. Suddenly, you could drive from Portugal to Finland without changing currency. Businesses loved it, travelers loved it. Economists called it the most ambitious monetary project in modern history. And the pitch was seductive. One currency means no exchange rate risk. That means cheaper trade, more investment, stability. If you're a company in Spain, you can sell to Germany without worrying about currency swings eating your profit. If you're a tourist, you're not getting fleeced at every border. But there was a deeper promise, a political one. The euro was supposed to bind Europe together, make war between member states not just unlikely, but impossible. You can't bomb your own currency. It was economics as peacekeeping. And for about 8 years, it worked beautifully. Countries like Greece and Portugal, which had historically struggled with inflation and weak currencies, suddenly had access to cheap borrowing, because now they were tied to Germany's reputation. Investors looked at Greek bonds and thought, well, they use the euro, same as Germany, low risk. Interest rates plummeted, money poured in, economies boomed. But no one asked the obvious question. What happens when the music stops? The global financial crisis hits, banks collapse, credit freezes, governments scramble. The United States responds by slashing interest rates and injecting trillions into the economy. The UK does the same. Painful, sure, but possible. The eurozone tries to respond, but here's the problem. Greece needs a completely different economic medicine than Germany. Greece's economy is cratering. Unemployment is spiking, tax revenue is disappearing. In a normal situation, Greece would devalue its currency, making exports cheaper and giving the economy room to breathe. But Greece doesn't have its own currency anymore. It has the euro, and the euro is also Germany's currency. Germany's economy is still relatively strong. If the ECB cuts rates to help Greece, it risks overheating Germany. If it raises rates to protect Germany, it chokes Greece. So the ECB does what central banks always do when they're stuck. It hesitates. And in that hesitation, Greece begins to collapse.
By 2010, Greece admits it can't pay its debts, not without help. It goes to the European Union, hat in hand, asking for a bailout. And here's where the quiet control begins. The EU agrees to help, but there are conditions. Greece must cut pensions, cut public sector wages, raise taxes, slash government spending, fire public workers, sell state assets. It's called austerity. And it's not a suggestion, it's a requirement. You want the money? You do what we say. Greece has no choice. It can't print euros, it can't devalue, it can't default without being kicked out of the union. So it agrees. The result? Unemployment hits 27%. Youth unemployment tops 50%. The economy shrinks by a quarter, and through it all, Greece keeps using the euro, because leaving would be even worse. This is the mechanism. This is the control. When you can't control your own currency, you can't control your own economy. And when crisis hits, someone else decides your fate. Not voters, not elected leaders, technocrats in Brussels, bankers in Frankfurt. Now, let's be clear, this isn't a conspiracy, it's just math. A currency union without a fiscal union is inherently unstable. Economists have known this for decades. It's called the impossible trinity. You can't have a fixed exchange rate, free capital movement, and independent monetary policy all at once. The euro chose fixed exchange rates and free capital. That means monetary policy has to be centralized, which means someone has to be in charge. And that someone is the ECB. But here's the twist. The ECB's mandate isn't to maximize employment. It's not to promote growth. Its only job, enshrined in treaty, is to keep inflation below 2%. That's it. So when Greece is burning and unemployment is at 27%, the ECB's official position is, not our problem. Their job is price stability, and by that measure, they're doing fine. It's technically correct and utterly brutal. You might be thinking, okay, but that was Greece, a special case, poor management, corruption. They brought it on themselves. Maybe. But then Italy starts to wobble. Spain teeters. Portugal needs a bailout. Ireland nearly collapses. Different countries, different problems, same structure. They all gave up control of their currency, and when things went wrong, they had no way out. Meanwhile, Germany thrives, because the euro for Germany is undervalued. If Germany still had the Deutsche Mark, it would be much stronger. That would make German cars, machines, and industrial goods cheaper on the global market. Germany runs massive trade surpluses. Its economy grows. It lends money to struggling countries at interest. It's not a conspiracy. It's not evil. It's just how the math works when you lock 20 different economies into one currency. Someone wins, someone loses. So why don't countries just leave? Because the cost of exit is catastrophic. If Greece announced tomorrow it was leaving the euro, here's what would happen. Instant bank run. Everyone would try to pull their euros out before they get converted to drachmas. The new drachma would immediately collapse in value. Imports would become unaffordable. Inflation would explode. Savings would evaporate. Any company with euro-denominated debt would be crushed because now they're earning weak drachmas but owe strong euros. The financial system would implode. And that's before we even talk about the political consequences. Leaving the euro likely means leaving the EU. That means trade barriers, loss of funding, diplomatic isolation. So countries stay, not because the euro works for them, but because leaving would destroy them. It's a trap, but it's a trap they walked into willingly. Here's the part that should make you uncomfortable. The eurozone has no real mechanism for dealing with asymmetric shocks. When one country suffers and another doesn't, there's no automatic stabilizer. In the United States, if California booms and Michigan busts, federal taxes and spending smooth it out. Money flows from rich states to poor states, unemployment insurance, Medicare, Social Security. It's not perfect, but it exists. The eurozone has no equivalent. No shared unemployment insurance, no significant federal budget, just loose agreements and conditional bailouts, which means every crisis becomes a negotiation, a power struggle.
Germany and the northern countries demand austerity. Southern countries beg for relief. The ECB tries to thread the needle, and ordinary people pay the price. During the pandemic, this almost broke the system again. Italy and Spain were hit hard. They needed money, fast. Germany initially resisted shared debt. The idea of eurobonds, where all countries borrowed together, was taboo. But the crisis was so severe that for the first time, the EU agreed to shared borrowing, 750 million euros, a recovery fund. It was historic, a step toward fiscal union. But it's temporary and small, and southern countries are already back in debt trouble. Nothing structural has changed.
So, what does this mean for the future? The euro has survived two existential crises: the 2008 financial collapse, the pandemic. But survival isn't the same as success. Youth unemployment across southern Europe is still double-digit. Growth is anemic. Political frustration is rising. Populist parties campaign on leaving the euro. And yet, the system persists, because the alternative is unthinkable. The euro isn't just a currency anymore. It's the glue holding a fractured continent together. Leaving means chaos. Staying means slow stagnation. It's a choice between two bad options. And in the meantime, the euro continues to do what it was designed to do: not make everyone prosperous, but make everyone committed. Here's the thing about control. It doesn't always look like force. Sometimes it looks like inevitability. The euro doesn't control Europe because it's powerful. It controls Europe because the cost of resistance is too high. You can't print it. You can't devalue it. You can't vote it out. You can only live with it. 350 million people wake up every day in a monetary system they didn't design, governed by institutions they can't elect, bound by rules they can't change. And the quiet truth is this: it's working exactly as intended.